It takes 8 years to make a great whiskey. 70% of the flavor of whiskey comes from wood. I've been an inventor for many years, using Deming's view on anticipating the future. And I happen to work on products that I like, and one of those happens to be whiskey. My co-founder Joe Gergash and I, we started playing to see if could we take the reaction of wood and alcohol, heating and cooling, and could we bring that together to create amazing new tastes in bourbon and rye and whiskey? And could we build equipment to accelerate it and do it one bottle at a time, just like was done in 1850. In the 1800s, when bourbon was born, you had what were called barrel blenders. They take a little from this barrel and a little from this barrel, and they'd put together their own personal bourbon. The most famous barrel blender was a grocer in Scotland named John Walker, of Johnny Walker Scotch. 1862, cocktails are invented by Jerry Thomas, who publishes the first book on cocktails. The 1900s was Prohibition. Then after Prohibition, the big companies took over close to 95% of the industry. And then in the 2000s was the birth of craft. We're here on about 80 acres. The Eureka Ranch, we help companies invent big new products. The ranch is used for training, experiences, and now it's a distillery and the bar. So we have three parts to the business. We have collaborations, then we have the Dexter brand, where we create a brand and build it up, but the custom business is where our heart and soul is, returning bourbon to its roots. We have an artificial intelligence app where you answer 13 questions and it creates your own personal bourbon by the glass or by the bottle. The key was we both bought in to systems with Dr. Deming.
We had to create our systems from the ground up because we were doing things that have never been done before. 94%
of the problem's the system, 6% is the worker. Focus on the system. Joe and I had to create a system-focused culture amongst all of the employees because they can't just be in their silo because they don't understand the consequences of their behavior on somebody else further down.
Are people performing poorly? And is it because of the system? Probably is. So we're constantly figuring out how do we make the system better so that people can more effortlessly follow it.
There's a lot of psychology to this. You got to get the right culture. In America, we've got a lot of leaders who think their job is to inspect the work as opposed to inspire the work and to educate. You got to have people who are interested in learning and growing, but it's hard because you have to take the time to involve the employees on a much broader base. You teach them to become proactive, and that's the key word, problem solvers. Because you're trying to do something that's never been done, now you have to run a gazillion PDSA cycles.
The culture here is different because the entire business runs around the plan, do, study, act mindset.
I feel like this is becoming a lost art. So what I love about how this place operates is everything is fluid so long as it's based in PDSA.
We all admit we don't know squat. We have a hypothesis of how it could do it. We've got an idea. The most important part of this whole thing is running plan, do, study, act cycles. So test it fast. See if it works. And the faster you do them and the faster you fail, the quicker you get brilliant.
Doug and I built small-scale systems. We ran thousands of experiments to understand the interaction between wood and whiskey.
We put together a collaboration with Edrington that makes the Macallan. The big issue was, can you scale? To really scale this, you got to have the training, you've got to have the language, the aim, and the strategic intent. As we started to scale, we had to teach those managers to do those same things with their employees. The way we make our whiskey is called woodcraft finishing. 70% of flavor comes from the whiskey and wood interacting. We take the wood and we put it in the whiskey and we heat it and cool it, controlling it to within 1/10 of a degree. We drive that variation out of the process. And that allows us to make much finer quality products at much faster time and at a much lower cost.
The bottling line was doing a few hundred bottles a week. We have built and rebuilt it. Now we're doing 4,800 bottles a day.
You got to make all of the pieces fit together. The whiskey, the packaging, the price, the neck collar, the cork, the container that it comes in, all of the pieces fit together to make it work. And if you don't think of it as a system, it doesn't work.
I think using the Deming methods is what makes us smarter. We call it Brain Brew because we do things smarter.
It became so much fun, we started to franchise it. And eventually our goal is to have custom bourbon experiences around the country. We took 2 of 8 double gold medals at the North American Bourbon Championship. Noble Oak is the fastest growing super premium whiskey in America. We are on our way to shipping 100,000 cases of whiskey. We're growing at 25-30% a year.
By next year, we could be the 15th largest super premium bourbon maker in the world.
Deming is how we went from 2 guys working in a closet to having 2 of the best bourbons in America in just 18 months.